I'm never bored because as soon as I get bored, I start creating problems for myself.
Hit the go button. My name is Sasha Moreau, and I'm joined today by my partner, Telson. Telson, say hi.
Hello, how are you?
This is the Overview. Our guest today is Mr. Robert Bousquet. Robert, say hi to everybody.
Hello.
Hey, we just wanted to chat a little bit about your background and what's going on, and what your connection is with FairVU. We did a while ago. We did an interview with you about your musical background, and you had mentioned that you got into software development in college. So why don't you give us a little background on what you're up to now, and then Telson, jump in and let's chat tech here a little bit, and
sure.
How we are going to be creating chaos at the intersection of tech and music.
Yeah. Well, my background's in web applications, web application development, mobile applications when those came out, and a lot of automation and technologies around the internet. So that's really what my background's in. I've been a consultant for about 25 years. I think I got my first client in middle school. So I've been doing it a long time. And, I think my company's built over 400 it's launched over 400 products, web products for companies, for various different companies. Some Fortune 500, some local businesses, some startups, everything in between. So I've seen a lot of different scenarios, a lot of different business needs, and I've been using that experience to kind of continue to continue to find ways to serve my clients' customers.
Now I'm curious, Robert, how long has it been New Leaders? How long have you been operating under that name, and have you been the owner the whole time? Is this something that you took over at one point? What's the history of the company?
Yeah, so right out of college, my first project was the first employee at a startup. And on that project, I met a designer who was fantastic, and we just really hit it off in terms of our ability to work together. He could kind of design anything, and I could build anything. And so between the two of us, we were able to do an incredible job on that project, and then started to we were turning down work from a bunch of people that were asking us, hey, can you do this? Hey, can you do that? And we're like, no, we're busy. No, we can't. And then we're like, what if we just said yes? And that's how New Leaders was born. So we created an agency called New Leaders. We started hiring software developers and other designers, and we sort of led those projects and then had those people help us. And at the same time, we kind of innovated on the business model too, because a lot of the agencies at the time were like fixed bid, and you would get these huge quotes for like hundreds of thousands of dollars, which back then was a lot more money than hundreds of thousands of dollars now. Right. And so what we were like is like, let's just make it so that the people doing the work make the most money, instead of the people managing the people doing the work making the most money, which was how a lot of the other firms were working. And so we attracted some of the best developers, designers, database engineers, system administrators and stuff, because we had a different story, right? It was like a product for them, not a product for the people who hired them in the past. And so we kind of banded together as a collective of creative and technical people, and that's how New Leaders was born. And this was about 2007. So, okay. Back then we were still, I think like MySpace was like barely out of fashion, kind of Facebook was in the early days. LinkedIn was like brand new, those sorts of things. So, that was sort of like before we had, even like TikTok wasn't around yet, these other things. So, we were building stuff really early, and it wasn't the first 1.0, it was sort of Web 2.0 timeframe. We got a lot of traction. We built a lot of things. So at the same time, Ruby on Rails was really picking up steam, which is a software programming framework that we ended up becoming experts at. And with that, we were able to build a lot of big products for companies, and that just sort of been word of mouth ever since. Building and releasing stuff that's successful.
What types of projects? Can you not maybe go into specifics with NDAs in place, but what types of projects do you guys take on, or have you taken on?
we built the things that you can't get off the shelf. So, before Shopify and these sites came around and covered e-commerce pretty well, we were building like e-commerce sites for people that had unique needs. Before you could get Stripe embed on your website, we would build all the payment integration models. Before you could do like Twilio and stuff, we were building like phone integration systems to do like automated call routing. So like you see a phone number on a billboard, and as you call that number, it would get routed to different companies that had subscribed to the leads from that number and stuff like that. So it's a lot of really unique and interesting things, which has been really exciting for me and kept it really interesting because it's a number of different industries. So because I'm like sort of, I really enjoy connecting things that don't seem connected. For me, it was like I'm working on aviation this month, and I'm working on a medical project, and I'm doing transaction automation and an auction. And
it seems like you get bored very easily if you're not challenged. I'm taking that away from both this interview and your last interview.
Yeah. I'm never bored, because as soon as I get bored, I start creating problems for myself.
One of the things that led to us discussing, your company working together with FairVU was actually back during the pandemic, when kind of the light bulb about FairVU went off in my head. And I actually reached out to you and wanted to see what your status was, whether you were like me and unemployed at the moment and looking for a project. And it turned out you were already on a project. Tell us a little bit about what you were getting into during the pandemic, because it's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, during the pandemic, things definitely for new leaders like took a dip. Like people really just put stuff on pause and said, I don't know if we need to continue working on this project right now, because they just didn't know the future. So the uncertainty like caused everybody to kind of hit the brakes at the same time. Of course, we got lucky because everybody realized that they need web applications more than ever before. And they need to be able to basically have their whole business be accessible through their website instead of just having it being an information thing. And of course, the early adopters knew that, but like the laggards and the majority of people didn't have that mentality that the internet is like the business and the storefront is like what supports the internet business. And so, anyways, during that pause, I was into Opera, and I was starting to try to figure out this like low latency audio stuff just to continue to collaborate with people. And I got involved with a remotely produced opera production as the technical director, where we pulled together singers from different cities and tried to perform an opera with every singer in a different city. And we were able to do it. And it was
in real time.
In real time. So you could watch the stream.
That's amazing.
The singers were in different things. We used some timing tricks to try to line them up based on proximity to the central source. I set up a server in Cincinnati or somewhere central to the singers so that I had sort of equidistant latencies. Again, I got to draw on some of the things that I was interested in the past, like acoustics and networking technologies and stuff, and tried to put together this thing. And we performed a number of performances that way, and it was innovative and new and fun.
And was it successful? I mean, was it something that did it work during the time, or would it work moving forward as a technology? Did you pioneer something that it will be a thing?
I think it will be a thing. I mean, I know that the live editing aspects always have geographic limitations, right? You can't go faster than the speed of light. So, there are challenges to doing synchronous things with great distances between them. But a lot of the stuff that we were working on has, continued to evolve and will continue to evolve. Like remote video editing didn't used to be a thing, and now, a lot of the big production houses are using remote editors. A lot of the audio and video stuff is like kind of changing the way people collaborate. People are kind of recording things and then sending the whole project to another person to record a layer and bring it back and that sort of thing. I mean, just like the digital like enabled workflow and the geographic, the ability to kind of work remotely has really sort of influenced a lot of the workflows that companies are using now in a lot of the industries. So it definitely has contributed to that. I will say that it was successful in the way that it led to a lot of learning, and it led to a lot of technology innovation and progress that we were able to then commercialize in other ways, like for projects in the future that had to do with live streaming. So for me and my team, obviously, we learned a great deal about how to build those types of systems at scale, how to get a lot of people to be able to watch a feed at the same time. I mean, there's been recent performances that have been kind of snafus with like the feed going down during a concert or whatever. And a lot of those challenges were like very common back then. And now it's an anomaly. Now it's something that's like, wow, did you see the concert? It didn't happen. Well, back then it was like, if you got it to work, you were like, lucky.
That was
people were a lot more forgiving because the technology was in its infancy.
It's in infancy. And so now, you've got tooling from AWS, you've got all these different vendors and people available to support the technologies now. So it's a whole different landscape in terms of, using those technologies and relying on them than it was back then.
Can you talk about the project that kind of takes that and to another level with live streaming?
Yeah, so right now we're working on a fitness product where there are fitness locations all over the country. And they have a number of those fitness locations have studios built into them so that they can produce content that's live. And people from all over the country can participate in those. And we're seeing, hundreds of thousands of people participating in these programs. And it's been a very successful platform in terms of elevating that company's, kind of participation and making it easier for people to kind of integrate that company into their life. Like if you can't make it to the location to participate, you can still participate at home. And so for them, it sort of created this idea of like integrating it into your life, like making it part of your routine, making it even easier to like lowering the barrier for their customers. And so that's been a really rewarding project and something that, has really kind of demonstrated a lot of the innovations that came out of COVID and how they could be put to use in a commercial way.
So let's see, you've worked on e-commerce, you've worked on live streaming, you've worked on networking, you've tried to reduce audio latency for live collaboration. Kind of sounds like you're in a good position to help us out, buddy.
Yeah.
We're really excited to have you, around and willing to help us out. What are your thoughts on a general timeline and a budget?
I mean, I think the way that these projects now go, I mean, obviously in the past there was a lot more emphasis on like a waterfall design where you kind of raise all the money, then you go build the thing, and then you find out whether or not somebody's willing to use it or not. And I think my recommendation would be to move more in a spiral. So you kind of start small with like a prototype that can be proof of concept and can show, that the technologies are working. It also gives you feedback in a way to kind of get people involved in the project, early adopters and people that can, really kind of, that really get it now and are willing to then be the evangelists going forward to kind of spread the message about this thing that's evolving. And then you kind of come back around multiple times to kind of build the next level of system around it.
Gotcha.
And so by doing that, you kind of build momentum in a way that's just not, like if you stick a match in a like a cup of kerosene, like you got to spray the kerosene and light the match, and then spray more kerosene and light the match. Ask me how I know, because you've got to oxygenate it, and I think having that sort of approach of getting early adopters on board and having them help promote it, and then getting the next tier of people that are starting to learn about the technology and are willing to try it. Not everybody wants to be first, so the biggest problems are not the funding, and they're not the technology. The biggest problems are integration, so making sure it's connected to all the other things, and then adoption. Like, those are the biggest problems in technology, is getting people to use the thing. So to me,
I was going to say, so you're not just iterating the product, you're iterating the audience that is using the product, and you're starting small and moving your way.
You're iterating the business model, you're iterating the funding, you're iterating a number of things, so that, like, as you grow, everything is still the right size, like, in proportion to each other. If you have a huge pile of money and no product and no audience, it's not the right approach. I think you got to kind of get that momentum together and keep them in alignment, and that creates it eliminates distortions. It gives a faster kind of flywheel effect, and it gets people excited about the product and helps spread the news, about it.
Well, that sounds like a solid plan. Sounds like you've been at this for a few decades and know what you're talking about. Robert and Sasha, thank you so much. Sasha, I'll send it back over to you. Robert, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for taking the time today to discuss this with us.
All right. Well, thank you for having me.
Hey, thank you very much. I just wanted to say thank you a lot for taking the time with us. And one of the things that I absolutely adore about talking with you is that you exist in this growth mindset. You, and not just you, but your company as well. That's your culture. And being able to take things away from whatever the situation is, and to learn a lot about that. And that is such a cool way to be able to keep moving forward and to innovate and to do stuff. So thank you very much for chatting with us, and we look forward to working with you. But I am super jazzed also to see where you go next and what the next big thing is for New Leaders. So if anyone is interested, hit them with a plug here, Robert. Where can they find New Leaders, and what's the haps?
Yeah, find us online, newleaders.com. I mean, our biggest supporters are word of mouth, but like you can contact us through newleaders.com, and we're always looking for new innovative projects to work on. Right now, I mean, we're looking at sort of what are the next things? Like, what are the things? Where are we headed? And how can we utilize a lot of the stuff that people are just getting introduced to now? A lot of those things we're already building with now. So
that's called the Wayne Gretzky model, because you don't go where the puck is, you go where the puck is going to be.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. This is Sasha Moreau. That's Telson down there. That's Robert Bousquet from New Leaders. This has been an overview. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. That actually does help us out a lot. And we will see you in the future with technology and music and stuff all together, and it's going to be amazing.